Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Hello and welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan. We're part of Snarful Solutions Group, and we're here to break down the tech news that matters.
That's right. Today is Friday, August 29th, 2025. Let's quickly check in on the weather across the country.
Okay, looks like there's potential for some flooding along the Gulf Coast, also the Southern Rockies and the High Plains.
Okay. Heads up if you're in those areas.
Definitely. But good news for some cooler, drier air is moving into the central and eastern U.S.
And here locally in Sacramento, still feeling that summer heat.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a hot one today. High of 97 degrees expected.
Whew. All right, let's glance at the markets. How did things close out yesterday?
Well, a bit of a down day. The Dow Jones closed at 45,529.42. That's down about 61 points, or 0.13%.
Okay, and the S&P?
S&P 500 finished at 6,474.58, down just under 15 points, so minus 0.23%.
And Bitcoin? Still seeing some volatility there.
Yeah, quite a bit, actually. Bitcoin closed at 109,371.38. That was a drop of over $3,200, or about 2.84%.
Oof. Okay. Market's a little shaky, but we do have some good news on the sports front for Giants fans.
Yes, finally. A great win last night. August 28th against the Cubs.
It was a 4-3 walk-off win. You love to see it.
Absolutely. Ryan Walker got the win, and Jung-Hoo Lee had a solid night, went 2 for 4.
Fantastic. Always feels good when the Giants pull one out like that.
Definitely puts a better spin on the morning.
Okay, so speaking of mornings, let's get into our main stories from today's Morning Star report here at Snarful.
Sounds good. Our first piece really dives into something fascinating and maybe a little unsettling about artificial intelligence.
Yeah, this one's called the personhood trap, how AI fakes human personality. What's the core idea here?
Well, it boils down to a fundamental misunderstanding many of us have about AI chatbots. Like ChatGPT, we interact with them and they sound so human, so convincing.
Right, almost like there's a person there.
Exactly. But the article stresses they lack true personhood or agency. They aren't thinking or feeling beings, and mistaking them for such can lead to, well, problems.
And they kick off with a really striking example of this, don't they?
They do. Picture this. A woman arguing with a postal worker because ChatGPT told her the post office has a price match promise.
Which they absolutely do not have.
Right. But she was trusting the AI's made-up information over the actual employee standing right there. It's kind of nuts, but it perfectly illustrates this misplaced trust.
So why does the AI do that? Just make stuff up?
It's not really making stuff up in the human sense. The article calls LLMs prediction machines. They've learned patterns from massive amounts of text data.
Okay.
So they generate what seems like the most plausible next word or phrase to create coherent text. It sounds right, it sounds factual, even if it has no basis in reality. It's about linguistic probability, not truth.
Ah, okay. So it connects words and ideas that often appear together, even if that specific connection isn't true.
Precisely. And this leads to what the article terms the personhood illusion. We start treating the AI like consistent individual. We might tell it secrets, ask for advice, think it has beliefs.
When really it's just reflecting patterns and data.
Exactly. It's a fluid idea connection machine, not a stable personality. The piece uses this great Latin phrase, vox in persona.
A voice without a person.
Yeah. Intelligence, or at least the appearance of it, without any actual agency or self behind it.
How does it make those connections, like the USPS and price matching example?
The article explains it simply. It's about mathematical relationships in the data. Concepts that are often discussed together, like USPS, shipping, and price matching, might be close to each other in the AI's complex data map.
So it just draws a line between them, even if that specific policy line doesn't exist in the real world.
You got it. It finds a plausible path through its data.
So why does this matter so much? What's the real world impact?
Well, the big one is trust and misinformation. People, especially maybe more vulnerable individuals, might rely on AI for crucial information that turns out to be completely wrong.
Like medical advice or financial advice?
Yeah.
Or post office policies?
Exactly. And then there's accountability. If an AI gives harmful advice or goes off the rails, who's responsible? There's no person to blame.
That's a really tricky question. It really makes you think about how much critical thinking we need when we interact with these tools.
Absolutely. And this connects directly to a related almost sci-fi development involving Sam Altman.
The OpenAI CEO, what's he up to?
Well, he's backing a company called World. It used to be WorldCoin. Their whole mission is to solve the problem of bots and AI pretending to be human online.
Okay. How are they doing that?
Get this. They're using devices called orbs to scan people's retinas.
Scan their eyes to prove they're human.
Yep. It creates a unique digital ID to verify your humanness. The irony is pretty thick, right? An AI pioneer backing a tech to prove you're not an AI.
Wow, that definitely sounds like something straight out of Black Mirror.
Doesn't it? But it's real. Of course, there are huge privacy concerns. When it launched internationally last year, places like Kenya, Hong Kong, and Spain actually shut it down over those worries.
I can imagine. What's the company's response to that?
World claims the orb doesn't actually store the biometric data, like the retina scan itself, on the device. They say it's stored on the user's own device, and the scan just confirms you're a unique human.
Okay. That's a key distinction, I guess. Is this happening in the U.S.?
It is. They're distributing orbs in 6 U.S. cities and even in Razor stores. And it's linked to cryptocurrency through their World app. The timing's interesting, too, with talk of potentially looser crypto regulations coming.
So AI gets better at faking being human, and now we might need to scan our eyeballs to prove we aren't AI. What a world.
It's definitely a strange new landscape we're navigating.
All right, let's shift gears from digital identity to outer space. Our next stories come from the Rocket Report in the Morning Star.
And it's been a really busy time up there, particularly for SpaceX.
Busy is an understatement. The report highlights SpaceX achieved 7 launches in just 7 days this past week. That pace is just incredible.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that included the first successful test flight of their Starship vehicle in almost a year, which is a big step towards even more ambitious tests.
That's huge news for Starship. What about the Falcon 9?
Their workhorse was busy too. 6 Falcon 9 launches in that same week. They carried up all sorts of things.
Like what?
Well, there was the U.S. military's X-37B spaceplane. An upgraded Dragon capsule went up to give the International Space Station a boost.
Oh, cool.
And one of their Falcon 9 boosters actually completed its 30th successful launch and landing, a new record.
30 times. That reusability is really changing the game, isn't it? Making space access almost seem routine.
It certainly is, for everything from internet satellites to defense missions to science. But not everyone's moving quite that fast.
Right. The report also touches on Firefly Aerospace. What's their story?
A bit of a mixed bag, actually. On the one hand, they had a really successful IPO on the NASDAQ. Shares opened way up at $70, jumping from the initial $45 price.
Wow, raising $868 million. That's impressive. A good sign for the space industry overall, maybe.
Definitely shows investor confidence. But on the other hand, they just finished investigating why one of their Alpha rockets failed back in April.
Ah, right. What did they find?
It was something called plume-induced flow separation. Basically, the rocket flew at too high an angle. The exhaust messed with the airflow around the rocket, causing intense heat that, well, broke the first stage apart.
Ouch. Engineering challenges are definitely a part of this business. Are they back to flying?
They have solutions more heat shielding, flying at a lower angle. They've had 2 successful Alpha launches out of 6 since 2021, and the FAA has cleared them to fly again. So they're learning and moving forward, but it shows the hurdles.
Okay, so SpaceX is rapid fire. Firefly is innovating but hitting bumps. What about Virgin Galactic? They're in the mix too, right? For space tourism?
They are, but they seem to be taking a much more deliberate approach right now. The report says they've delayed their private space tourism flights until autumn 2026.
Autumn 2026. That's quite a pushback.
Oh.
Why the delay?
They're focusing all their energy on developing their next-generation vehicle, the Delta class. They actually paused commercial flights back in June 2024 to do this. This Delta vehicle is supposed to be much more reusable and efficient.
So investing now for a better future service makes sense, but that's got to impact their bottom line.
For sure. They're selling seats for around $600,000 currently and planning to raise prices later. They've also trimmed their workforce by about 7% to manage costs while they focus on Delta.
$600,000 a seat. Wow. So it really shows the different speeds and strategies in the commercial space race, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You've got SpaceX making launches almost routine and affordable for satellites and cargo, while Virgin Galactic is carefully building a very high-end, bespoke tourism experience. 2 very different paths.
Fascinating. From global internet to national security to the dream of personal space travel, it all connects.
It really does. Okay, let's bring it back down to earth for our final story. And this one is a pretty serious security alert you need to be aware of.
Yeah, this comes from Google, warning about a data breach involving an AI tool called Salesloft Drift. And the key thing is, it's bigger than initially thought.
That's the crucial update. Google is basically telling all customers of Salesloft's Drift AI chat agent that they should consider any authentication tokens linked to it as potentially compromised.
Okay, wait. Authentication tokens. Those are like digital keys that let different apps talk to each other securely.
Exactly. Like the key that lets Drift access your Salesforce data or maybe your Google Workspace. Initially, the worry was mainly about the Salesforce connection.
But now Google's saying it's broader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Google's threat intelligence group found evidence that other integrations were impacted too. Specifically, attackers used stolen OAuth tokens, those digital keys, to access email from a small number of Google Workspace accounts back on August 9th.
Access email. That's serious. Is Google Workspace itself breached?
No, and that's important. Google emphasizes this isn't a flaw in Google Workspace or Alphabet systems. The attackers got the keys from the Salesloft Drift side and used them to unlock doors into Google Workspace.
Got it. So Google found this and took action.
They did. They revoked the compromised tokens they found. They temporarily disabled the integration between Salesloft Drift and Workspace for affected users, and they notified those users.
Okay, good response from Google. What were the attackers actually trying to do by getting into Salesforce and potentially Workspace?
The group, apparently called UNC6395, was using the access to query-sensitive data within Salesforce, things like customer records, user info, sales opportunities.
Looking for what?
Valuable credentials, things like AWS keys, Snowflake tokens, passwords, basically anything they could potentially use for future attacks or extortion. It's like breaking into one system to steal the keys to others.
That makes sense. How has Salesloft handled this?
Well, the report notes their public security guidance was a bit slower to update compared to Google's warning about the expanded scope. Salesforce, as a partner, acted quickly, though they temporarily shut down all Salesloft integrations with Salesforce, Slack, and Pardot to be safe.
Wow, that's a big move by Salesforce.
Yeah, it shows how seriously they're taking it. Salesloft has brought in cybersecurity firms Mandiant and Coalition to help investigate, which is standard practice.
So what's the bottom line for people listening, especially if they use Salesloft Drift?
The immediate call to action is critical. You need to revoke and rotate all credentials and authentication tokens associated with Salesloft Drift. Don't assume anything is safe.
Okay, revoke and rotate. What else?
Review all your third-party app integrations, not just Drift. See what has access to what. And investigate your logs for any signs of unauthorized access, especially around early August.
This really underscores that supply chain risk idea, doesn't it? A problem in one piece of software you use can spread to others it connects to.
Absolutely. It's like one weak link in a chain. And it also highlights the security angle of these helpful AI agents. They need strong connections to work, but those connections can become attack vectors if not secured properly.
It's not just an abstract IT problem. This affects real working professionals, the security of their accounts, and the company data they handle every day. Vigilance is key.
Couldn't agree more. Being proactive about security in this interconnected world is just essential.
All right, that wraps up our main stories for today on connecting the dots. We covered quite a bit.
We really did. We looked at that tricky personhood trap with AI, how we tend to treat it like a person and the risks involved, plus that whole eye scanning thing to prove you're human.
Then we blasted off into the space industry, seeing SpaceX's incredible launch pace contrasted with the challenges and different strategies of companies like Firefly and Virgin Galactic.
And finally, that critical security alert about the expanding Salesloft Drift data breach, reminding us just how interconnected and sometimes vulnerable our digital tools are.
Each story really touches on how tech is changing our work, our perceptions, even our security online day by day. It's about understanding these connections.
From figuring out who or what is behind the screen to securing our digital front doors, these are the things shaping our reality now.
So maybe the biggest takeaway today is the importance of our own critical thinking, our own discernment as we navigate all this new technology. How do we stay informed and safe? That's the ongoing question for all of us.
Well said.
We're here to help at Snorful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.